Hello everybody, this is Johns Hopkins with Baltimore Heritage, and we're back with another of our 5-Minute Histories videos. And today I'm on Walther Boulevard, just north of Herring Run Park in the Arcadia neighborhood. And the sign behind me welcomes everybody to Arcadia. What the sign doesn't say, however, is that this year the neighborhood is turning 100 years old. And we thought we would help them celebrate their birthday with a video. Have to say a quick thanks to a neighbor, Vanessa Russell, for suggesting this. And if you're following along real time, on September 9th, the neighborhood's having a birthday party. We'll put a link for information on that. But let's jump in back to the first recorded record of this area, and that was in 1695. A gentleman named John Broad got a tract of land from the proprietor of Maryland called Broad's Choice. His son expanded it to 500 acres, and it includes what today is Herring Run Park. In the early 1800s, with the help of two roads, Bel Air Road and Hartford Turnpike, this area became a number of farms. The farmers would sell their produce way down in Baltimore City, places like Bel Air Market, to make their living. By about the middle of the 1800s, a number of the small farms had been bought up by wealthy Baltimoreans and turned into estates. Maybe the most notable estate was Utah Manor. The Great Manor House has been the subject of fantastic archaeology by volunteer archaeologists over the last number of years. We'll put a link to that as well. In the middle and late 1800s, along came a butcher and a cobbler. William Weaver was a butcher who had invested in a brick company and done pretty well. He retired and built a house here in the neighborhood at 4319 Arabia. It's a wonderful Queen Anne style house that's still there. And Gottlieb Heckel decided he no longer wanted to be a cobbler. He stopped making shoes and came out here, bought a log cabin, and started tilling the land. Weaver has a road named after him, and Heckel developed what he called Utah Avenue, now Parkside, and Heckel Avenue, which was his driveway. I guess you get to name your road if it's your own driveway. In 1905, another enormous development happened, and that's when the streetcar on Bel Air Road came all the way out here past Herring Run Park. And so for a nickel and in 25 minutes, you could get downtown. And there were loads of folks living downtown who were eager at the chance to move out here to this new leafy green area. After World War I, another enormous thing happened, and that was that the city annexed a good chunk of Baltimore County, including this area out here. But the real spark for turning this area from farms into a neighborhood came with a gentleman named Stanley Carswell. Carswell was a businessman in Baltimore, and he bought up 50 acres of the old Utah estate for the express purposes of developing as a real estate venture. He is the one who gave us the name Arcadia. If you're not familiar, Arcadia is a mountainous region in Greece. In Greek mythology, it's where the god Pan lived with all of his nymphs. And for millennia, it's been referenced in literature and art and music as a place where humans and nature can live peacefully side by side. Dante referenced it in his Divine Comedy. A composer named W.S. Gilbert wrote a musical called Happy Arcadia. So when our own Stanley Carswell decided to give it the name Arcadia, he certainly had a good bit of marketing in his mind then. So by 1923, there were enough houses out here for a neighborhood association to be born, and that's how we get to our 100th anniversary here today, 1923. So what did the neighborhood association do when it was first created? Well, let's just say it came out swinging. It lobbied to have the streetcar poles that were in the middle of Herring Run Bridge removed. They were a traffic hazard. It lobbied against zoning that would have allowed row houses to be built along the park. It fought to close saloons and dance halls. It raised $500 to plant trees in the newly built sidewalks here. It took the name Arcadia pretty seriously. Along with its neighbors, Beverly Hills and Lauraville and other communities out here, Arcadia became kind of the quintessential streetcar suburb. In fact, there's a wonderful book by a gentleman named Eric Holcomb called The City as Suburb, A History of Northeast Baltimore since 1660. And if you're interested in learning more, that's a great resource. I'm going to wrap up with a word about architecture here. This was never built by one developer, so unlike places like Roland Park, it was never even built by a couple big developers. It was built in small clusters and by single families building their own homes. So it is a wonderful, eclectic mixture of architecture. You've got bungalows and four squares, shingle style and neo-colonial, wood-framed houses and brick houses, and concrete block houses. We even have row houses, maybe against the best efforts of the Improvement Association. It was always a middle-class neighborhood, but that didn't mean they skimped on the details. There are stained glass windows and leaded glass windows. Most of the houses have generous front porches. The doors have transom windows above them. Today, it's listed on the National Register of Historic Places, and let me just read one quick quote from the National Register. They say that Arcadia is, quote, a superb example of early 20th century suburban design and residential architecture. Yes. So the last 100 years with quality building and a feisty neighborhood improvement association looking after it, Arcadia is going strong. I'll invite you to come on out on September 9th to their birthday party, or just come on out by yourself and walk the Arcadian, yes, that is an adjective, the Arcadian streets and sidewalks with its leafy green trees. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.